Hi, Robert Chuckrow here. I'm going to talk about expanding and condensing and demonstrate doing so in the Taiji form. I'll talk about the difference between contraction and expansion, how it occurs physiologically, but also the advantages and disadvantages. And contraction is the following. Let's say I want to do an action. I have the intention to do an action with my body. My intention causes electricity to go from my brain through my nervous system, through nerves, to what are called sarcomeres of muscles, which are the contractile units. And the sarcomeres cause the muscles to contract, causes the tendons that are connected to those muscles and connected to the bones to move the bones. And that's the way most of our movement occurs. The electrical energy takes a certain amount of chemical energy, but also the contraction takes a lot more chemical energy. And those chemicals are in the muscles, so they get depleted very quickly. And so contraction is hard to sustain for any length of time. On the other hand, extension, in my view and what I feel, and I can't prove this scientifically, is that that if I have an intention to do a movement by expansion, by extension, what I'm doing is sending electricity through the nerves, not now to the muscles units, but to the water in the muscles and other tissues. And that causes the water to change its state from a liquid to a sort of expanded gel, which causes movement and strength. There's some evidence that that can occur, but as I said, I can't prove it scientifically. All I can do is say that I feel that that's consistent with what's going on in my body. And I feel a big difference. The advantage of expansive strength is that the chemical energy for the movement and the strength isn't required because it's a property of water that's doing it. So it's only the chemical energy to produce the nerve impulses. So it takes less energy and is able to be sustained for a much longer period of time than contractive strength. That's one. Two, contractive strength binds the joints, uses a lot of internal force, which constricts the blood, constricts the chi. So movement is very hard. Also, the movement isn't well regulated, and it also affects the root negatively. Expansive strength, on the other hand, improves the root. It also is consistent with sung, which is the release of contractive strength. And it allows the movement to be very finely regulated, very easily, opens up the body so that the blood flows, the chi flows, very therapeutic and consistent with the ideas of Taiji. So next, what I'm going to do is give you some examples of expansion and condensing, which is the release of expansive strength, and show you how that comes into the movements. A good example of expansion is the very first move of the form, preparation. So I start, and I'm just ordinary Robert Chuckrow. Now I start to release everything. That's sung. That's yin. Now the yang is the expansion. My arms are starting to expand. My spine, the top of my spine is extending upward. The bottom of my spine is extending downward. My back is expanding, everything. And also now the insides of my legs are expanding. And then as I shift and the friction disappears in my left foot, it floats out. And then I shift and turn, etc. Next move, I don't just pull my arms up. That's contraction. I do it by expanding, and it's very heavy, very heavy. Another place where expansion occurs is, let's say I'm doing ward off. toward or left. I shift, let my arm swing. And now as it comes up, the momentum is dissipating and it's going to swing back. So I have to add upward expansion to keep that motion going continuously. And now expanding outward. Condensing is letting it come back in. The expansion decreases and the elasticity of the tissues brings it back in. And now I expand again and condense, etc. Expand and condense, etc. Expand and condense, etc. All the moves have that expansion and condensation in them, alternating, and that's the yin-yang. Thank you.